Leonardo is, of course, a great artist.
Da Vinci had great expectations from his flying machine. In fact, he wrote in his notes, "The great bird will take his first flight from above the hill of Mount Cesare, filling the universe with wonder, filling with his fame all the scriptures and giving eternal glory to the nest where he was born."
Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks have always carried secrets, but one sketch buried for 4 centuries has just shaken science to its core. Hidden inside the Codex Madrid was a design so bizarre that scholars dismissed it as nonsense. Spiral gears twisting in impossible directions, notes scribbled about eternal force, and measurements that made no sense.
The Codex Leicester is an extraordinary document as to Leonardo's scientific and engineering research.
For centuries, it was ignored, until a quantum AI in 2025 rebuilt the machine. And when it finally spun, scientists were left speechless. You'll see why.
Is that he left us more than 7,000 pages of his notebooks.
The hidden sketch. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks have always been a puzzle box of ideas. Flying machines, anatomical dissections, cryptic riddles. But buried deep inside one forgotten manuscript was something different. Not a sketch for war, not a plan for flight, but a machine that seemed to defy physics itself. In 1965, hidden in Spain's National Library, researchers unearthed a collection long believed to be lost, Codex Madrid. It had been misfiled under an unrelated title, untouched for over 4 centuries. When scholars finally flipped through its brittle pages, they found Leonardo's familiar mirrored handwriting, his dense annotations, and then that drawing. It wasn't titled, just spiral gears twisting inward on themselves, an oscillating core that seemed to balance on chaos, and jagged notes in Latin mentioning eternal force. Most dismissed it instantly. Engineers called it flawed. Art historians waved it off as metaphor. But one line written beside the sketch wouldn't go away. All is wheel, all is motion, unless the heavens decide otherwise. Leonardo's engineering was always symmetrical, calculated, grounded in balance. But this was a machine that looked like it wanted to collapse, until you studied it longer. The gears weren't random. They followed arcs similar to the Fibonacci sequence. They curved with sacred geometry.
Everything in the universe is geometric.
Their spacing hinted at ratios found in ancient temples, not Renaissance tech manuals. Even stranger, cryptographers in the early 2000s analyzed the notes and discovered the measurement systems that didn't fit metric or imperial units. Instead, they appeared to align with harmonic proportions used in early Greek mechanics. That's when the wild theories began to spin up. Was this machine inspired by something Leonardo had seen rather than conceived? Some believed he may have come across ancient scrolls from the Roman Empire, fragments lost from the Library of Alexandria. Others connected the strange design to the Antikythera mechanism, discovered off the coast of Greece. A bronze analog computer from the 1st century with spiral gear configurations hauntingly close to Leonardo's sketch. There were whispers of deeper connections too. Hermetic teachings, Pythagorean codes.
Anything from ancient Greece simply shouldn't have gear wheels. These were precision gears.
Leonardo often wrote of visions, dreams, and wheels spinning in silence. Some wondered, was he receiving knowledge preserved for centuries by secret societies? One cryptic quote in the Codex reads, "Energy, once stirred, becomes the breath of time." And then there was that single line tucked into Codex Madrid 2, barely a sentence, describing a source of power drawn from motion itself. It sounded impossible, like Leonardo was flirting with the idea of perpetual motion centuries before it became taboo in science. But for centuries, the sketch remained locked in speculation. No one could build it. No one could prove what it was. And Leonardo didn't have what he needed to test it, not in his lifetime. He had the vision, But what he needed was a machine that could think in spirals. And that's exactly what arrived in early 2025. Because the moment quantum AI touched Leonardo's sketch, everything changed. Recreated by quantum AI in 2025. When quantum AI met Da Vinci's sketch in early 2025, it was a collision between centuries, a Renaissance blueprint, and a machine that didn't believe in limits. The task was simple: reconstruct a mysterious drawing from Codex Madrid.
And soon he's drawing a landscape with rivers that curl and then hair that curls. So you see his creative mind leaping around on page after page of these notebooks.
Traditional simulations had failed. The gears clashed. But the quantum AI wasn't interested in what humans thought was impossible. Built on superposition logic and probabilistic modeling, this AI could test millions of micro-adjustments per second. Not just speed, but depth.
Look at these geometrical constructions. I mean...
And in just 32 hours, it gave the team a three-dimensional rendering that wasn't just accurate, it worked. The gears rotated, the core oscillated, but most stunning of all, the machine sustained itself. The AI called it inertial amplification, a feedback loop where the output torque enhanced the input force, again and again. The spiral gears weren't broken. They were compensating for energy loss in real time, twisting in a pattern too sophisticated for Newtonian physics to explain. Engineers watching the simulation described it as alive. As one gear lagged, another surged. As pressure mounted, the system adapted. When stress peaked, it self-corrected. That's when the whispers started. Was this a simulation of perpetual motion? They didn't say it out loud. They didn't have to. The AI had made no changes to Leonardo's layout.
Because there was a kind of tense balance, a kind of equipoise between and among these states.
Quantum systems almost always optimize. That's the point. But here, the machine ran millions of simulations and concluded the original design was already optimal. Statistically, that's almost impossible. It was like Leonardo had written code for a machine 300 years too early. But what if he didn't invent it? What if he just copied it? That theory gained traction when the AI flagged a hidden glyph embedded in the sketch. Carved subtly into the lower ring, the symbol wasn't recognized in Da Vinci's catalog, but matched seals found on Etruscan relics tied to lost mathematical traditions.
And did Leonardo also discover tricks of perception to pull off the greatest illusion of all?
Were these borrowed symbols? Was Da Vinci referencing knowledge older than Rome itself? And then came the materials issue. Leonardo referenced sun-forged iron and flexible bronze. Neither matches any known alloy from the Renaissance. Scholars dismissed it as fantasy. But the AI didn't need old-world metals. It built the machine with modern substitutes, ran the simulation, and it moved exactly as predicted. To test it physically, engineers used titanium alloys and carbon reinforcements. No motors, just motion. After a minimal push, the device rotated for over 6 hours. That's not how gear systems behave, not even now. Some called it a fluke. Others said Da Vinci had designed the world's first rotational battery. But a few, just a few, proposed something more radical. What if the device wasn't designed to do work? What if its purpose was to exist, to spin, to resonate? What was the device for? Theories abound. When the machine finally spun into real-world motion, it raised a question that left even the most grounded minds unsettled. What was it actually for? Leonardo da Vinci's machines were never abstract. His sketches had clear intentions: siege weapons, flying contraptions, water pumps, anatomical models. But this device? It didn't fire projectiles. It didn't power anything. It spun endlessly, efficiently. alone. Some said it was a prototype gyroscope. Da Vinci had long studied celestial balance, Earth's motion, even planetary drift. Gyroscopes use rotational inertia to maintain orientation, and this device did behave like one.
The calculations performed by Copernicus have had a real impact on us today.
But it lacked any stabilizing structure, no framework, no directional mechanism, just the heart of a thing that wanted to turn. If it was a gyroscope, it was only half built. Others pointed to Leonardo's obsession with automata, mechanical life forms. He sketched robotic knights, humanoid torsos with pulleys for lungs. Could this spinning mechanism have been the core engine, the heartbeat of something larger? That theory gained weight when researchers found the phrase, "an inner cause for external motion," scrawled beside the sketch, words that now feel less poetic, more literal. Then came the physicists. They didn't want to believe what they were seeing. Traditional gear systems lose energy over time, through heat, friction, resistance. But this one didn't. It gained feedback. This led to one idea that split the scientific community in two: harmonic resonance. Some suggested the machine wasn't just mechanical, it was vibrational, like a tuning fork that doesn't fade. Could it harvest energy from its environment? Sound, vibration, movement in the air? It was only theory, until acoustic engineers ran an experiment. They spun a scaled replica, recorded the frequencies it emitted, and isolated a strange pattern. The hum wasn't random. It aligned with solfeggio tones, specific frequencies linked to ancient musical theory, and, according to some fringe beliefs, healing vibrations. Maybe coincidence, maybe not. That wasn't the only twist. A line of Latin, nearly invisible until digitally enhanced, curved along the base of the drawing.
And arranges those into Italian words that make a sentence, but they're also, of course, notes, so you can sing it.
Translated, it reads, "A touch among the eternal." Interpret it how you want. Some say it proves the machine was philosophical, a metaphor. Others say it hints at something timeless, a design not meant to power a tool, but to reflect a principle. Then came the Egyptologists. A paper in 2025 showed visual overlays between Leonardo's spirals and carvings from the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, a structure already tangled in controversy for its so-called light bulb glyphs.
It emerges from that sundering is the waveform, is vibration. In the beginning was the word.
The match wasn't exact, but it was close enough to raise eyebrows. And water? That came next. Da Vinci was obsessed with it. He filled pages with wave diagrams, pressure systems, vortex theory. When his machine was modeled under fluid dynamics, it showed potential to compress air or liquid. Some called it a primitive pump, others a fluid accelerator. And just when it seemed like the theories couldn't stretch any further, one other discovery took the conversation to a whole new level. The sound it made, the strange rhythmic tone, matched something else. Not a song, not a chord, a planetary pulse. Real-world tests leave scientists speechless. By mid-2025, theories weren't enough. The sketch had been simulated, modeled, and dissected, but still, nobody believed it until they saw it spin with their own eyes. At the Polytechnical Institute of Milan, a team of engineers decided to stop guessing and build it. No tricks, just Da Vinci's original design, brought to life with 16th century materials where possible: bronze, hardwood, rope-tensioned fasteners, plus modern safety tweaks. It was meant to be a demonstration, nothing more. But what followed left scientists staring in silence. The first turn was gentle, just a manual crank to start the rotation. The gears clicked, then caught. And then, something strange happened. Instead of spinning in uniform cycles, the machine rippled. Each spiral gear transferred motion in a cascading pulse, like the system was breathing. Torque didn't just travel, it amplified. By the second cycle, readings tripled. By the fifth, the machine emitted a low-frequency hum that shook the nearby equipment. And then it just kept going. No fuel, no external force, just gears feeding themselves. Engineers expected it to slow down within minutes. It didn't. Hours passed. The machine maintained rotation while friction, resistance, and load factors were adjusted one by one. Still, no failure. One researcher, eyes wide, whispered, "This isn't normal engineering behavior." They took it apart, checked for hidden motors, magnets, anything that could fake motion. Nothing. Rebuilt it, restarted. Same result, over and over again. Then came the second build, this time using 3D printed titanium gears and carbon fiber supports. On a controlled surface, under thermal cameras and resonance monitors, the machine was kicked into motion.
Leonardo designed this wing, and he wanted to see if by flapping this wing a person could create a force large enough to get off of the ground.
What happened next was so unexpected. It synced. The hum it emitted, barely audible, registered at 7.83 hertz. That's not a random number. That's the Earth's own natural electromagnetic pulse. Known as the Schumann resonance, it's a global frequency produced by lightning strikes trapped between Earth's surface and the ionosphere. No one had programmed that. No one had predicted it. But the machine's acoustic signature matched it exactly. Theories spiraled fast. Some speculated Da Vinci had tapped into something ancient, georesonance, planetary rhythm. Others laughed it off as noise. But then came the voltage spikes. In the second test, nearby instruments registered microcurrents. Tiny, but measurable. Static? Maybe. But when the team grounded the setup and ran it again, the readings increased. And then came the trigger moment. As a passing truck rumbled by the lab, just street vibration, nothing planned, the machine started turning on its own. No one touched it. No external force was applied. Just a rumble and rotation. An engineer watching from across the room summed it up best. It didn't just react to the world. It joined it. Whether mechanical resonance, vibrational energy capture, or some forgotten law of motion, no one could deny the outcome. Leonardo's machine wasn't just a relic. It was doing something machines weren't supposed to do. And that made one important question unavoidable. Was this his invention or something he found? Was Leonardo inspired by something unknown?
Leonardo da Vinci was more than just an artist. His innovative science and designs have paved the way for technology as we know it today.
Throughout Leonardo's notebooks, he left breadcrumbs, cryptic references to ancient masters, scribbled lines about prior works, annotations that suggest he didn't always view himself as an inventor, but sometimes as a translator, a recorder of knowledge that came before him. Historians now argue whether his sketches, especially this enigmatic torque-amplifying device, were born solely from his imagination, or whether they were reconstructed from materials he should never have had access to. The timing is suspicious. After the fall of Constantinople in 1453, Greek scholars fled west, carrying priceless manuscripts. Many ended up in Florence, Milan, and Rome, exactly where Leonardo worked. Could he have encountered diagrams from Byzantine archives or fragments of even older Greek treatises on mechanics? In the Codex Forster, he wrote, "I have seen diagrams most curious from an old book in Greek, where spheres of influence turn one another in infinite repetition." For years, that line was thought to be metaphorical, but now, in light of the machine's behavior, it reads more like testimony. And then there are the symbols. Alongside the gears, Leonardo drew markings that don't appear in his other mechanical notes. Curved glyphs, spiral brackets, angular slashes that seem decorative until you compare them. A symbologist at the University of Bologna discovered that several of these match numerals from the ancient Etruscan system. Others bear resemblance to Phoenician signs. Even more startling, 4 symbols closely align with markings carved into ruins at Hattusa, the Hittite capital. If this is coincidence, it is uncanny. If it isn't, then Da Vinci may have been channeling designs preserved for thousands of years.
I feel like Stefano's work, likewise, reaches back through time to celebrate what Da Vinci did.
The Vatican archives only fuel speculation. A declassified 1953 report mentions a text called the Volumen Obscura, allegedly circulated among a small circle of Renaissance scholars, including Marsilio Ficino and, perhaps, Leonardo himself. The book supposedly contained diagrams of machines driven by the Earth's pulse alone. No physical copy has ever surfaced, and most academics dismiss it as fiction. But the resurfacing of this Codex Madrid device reopens the debate. Was such a manuscript real? And if it was, did Leonardo glimpse it? Legends add more shadows. In Lombardy, stories persist of Leonardo spending weeks in a monastery that later revealed a sealed underground vault. 19th century records describe strange tools, broken statues, and scrolls in languages no one could translate. The vault door bore a spiral engraving almost identical to the central gear in Leonardo's sketch. Though the contents were destroyed in a World War II fire, letters from a monk named Paolo di Santini survive, describing the man of flying dreams, asking about the wheel that turns without push. Was this all coincidence, or evidence of hidden transmission?
Leonardo had long observed the water in motion, and he was the first to draw air as a fluid.
Secret societies active in Renaissance Italy, like the Rosicrucians, believed they were preserving Atlantean and Egyptian knowledge. Leonardo scribbled one line in a notebook, almost overlooked for centuries. From the land that drowned, we take again the breath of the wheel. Atlantis? Metaphor? Or something else entirely? And then, geometry. AI analysis of his sketches revealed non-obvious ratios, alignments perfectly matching Fibonacci spirals, and golden ratios. These align not just with Renaissance aesthetics, but with megalithic structures. Stonehenge, the pyramids, even ancient temples in India. One theory chills the conversation. Leonardo may not have invented this machine at all. He may have documented it, an artifact seen, heard about, or half revealed to him. A relic whose origins stretched beyond recorded history. If that's true, then he was less a creator and more a translator of lost technology. Shadows of other geniuses.
Only 2 centuries later, he identified the physical forces generated by a wing in air.
Leonardo da Vinci wasn't the only mind accused of touching knowledge that seemed centuries out of place. Across history, a handful of innovators sketched, built, or hinted at devices their era couldn't explain. Take Archimedes, for example. Over 1,700 years before Leonardo, Archimedes of Syracuse designed war machines so advanced that Roman generals feared his mind more than any army. Catapults that could hurl projectiles farther than anyone thought possible. Claw-like cranes that lifted ships from the sea. He even described mirrors aligned to burn enemy vessels with concentrated sunlight. For centuries, these were dismissed as exaggerations, until modern physics showed they weren't impossible. Archimedes wasn't dreaming. He was engineering at the edge of known science. Or consider Hero of Alexandria in the 1st century. In his workshop, he built the Eolipier, a steam-powered sphere that spun when heated. It was, in essence, the world's first recorded steam engine. But it sat unused, centuries before the Industrial Revolution. Why? Because the knowledge wasn't passed on, buried until a new age was ready to catch up. And then there's the Antikythera mechanism. Pulled from a shipwreck in Greece in 1900, it turned out to be an ancient analog computer built around 100 BC, with bronze gears predicting eclipses, planetary motion, even Olympic schedules. Scholars at first laughed it off as a fake. Now it's considered the most sophisticated mechanical device of the ancient world. Like Leonardo's sketch, it shouldn't have existed in its time, but it did. Fast forward to the 19th century, Nikola Tesla emerges. He spoke of wireless energy transmission, built machines that harvested ambient electricity, and experimented with resonant frequencies that could topple buildings. His Colorado Springs experiments recorded electrical arcs so massive, townspeople swore lightning was striking the ground at will. And like Leonardo, Tesla dropped cryptic phrases into his notes, hinting that energy wasn't just power, but rhythm, vibration, and resonance. Even Victor Schauberger, a 20th-century Austrian forester, claimed water itself held secrets of motion and energy. His vortex experiments produced spirals eerily similar to those in Leonardo's sketches. Schauberger insisted nature's curves contained untapped power. He died in obscurity, dismissed by mainstream science, but his designs still circulate in alternative research circles today. The pattern is hard to ignore. Across centuries, certain figures glimpse ideas that feel premature, as if knowledge surfaces, then disappears, waiting for the world to catch up. And now, with AI reconstructing Leonardo's forgotten sketch, we're forced to ask, were they all chasing the same thing? A hidden principle of motion, resonance, or energy? Is perpetual motion truly a fantasy, or just a riddle mankind hasn't yet solved? Because if Da Vinci's machine whispers the same truth as Archimedes' lost devices, Hero's steam engine, or Tesla's resonance towers, then maybe these weren't isolated sparks of genius. Maybe they were fragments of a deeper knowledge humanity keeps rediscovering, only to lose again. And if that's the case, then Leonardo wasn't alone. He was part of a chain stretching across millennia, innovators separated by centuries, yet united by one haunting pursuit, the wheel that turns without end. So what do you think? Was Leonardo da Vinci truly inventing? Or was he rediscovering knowledge far older than his time? Could his mysterious device be proof of a hidden science we still don't understand? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And if you want more untold stories and shocking discoveries like this one, make sure you hit subscribe, because the next reveal might be even wilder.